What up? I'm back. Today is October 22nd. I just picked this song. I turned on my Amazon. I clicked the button. Soundtrack. First song came on. Added to my playlist of No Control. Went in there. Clicked the song. Hit repeat. I have zero control. It's not up to me. I can only control my vessel. I can only control how I respond. I can only control the actions that I make. I can only control how I perceive the world that I'm going through. And it's so fucking fun, dude. It makes life simple. It makes life so simple. It doesn't mean I don't fall into the trap of thinking about this or thinking about that or thinking how she's going to react, thinking about this or that or what's going on. And it sucks because the Cody that I am is like, dude, I want to just go fix everything. I want to go fix everything. I can fix anything. Like, it's not an issue. But it's like, if I run around the world and I fix everybody's problems, as soon as I walk away, the problem returns. Because the person's problems that I fixed, they're going to break in only a matter of time because they don't even know how to fix it if it happens again or how to not, Or it will break again until they learn how to fix it. And I think a lot of things is what's so crazy about the idea of being a fixer. In the process of learning how to fix things, this is the way I do things, is I learn how it broke, why it broke, and that ultimately helps me fix things. And it's all kind of intertwined into like just an overall knowledge about the thing that it is that I'm trying to fix. And it's kind of the statement of saying that I said the other day was like, if you're really good at something, it's because you are really bad at it. That, in the grand scheme of things, is exactly what it means. But maybe on this lower level of understanding, it's more of like, you understand not what to do. Like, if you want to be good at something, you understand what you have to be better at. And so you have to know what not to do. And because if you do those things, you won't get better. And it's kind of like the same thing with fixing and breaking things. For me, it's all one idea. And honestly, in all reality, most ideas to me are just one. There's just the goal, which is on the right side of the equal sign of the equation. And so for me, it's more like the answer of any equation is first, then there's an equal sign, and then there's all the variables. So it's like, I already know the outcome. I already know the goal. I already know what I want. And so what's left then is the time frame to work out the equation. And I just really don't care now. I've surrendered to the fact that this is the goal that I am going to obtain. This is what is going to happen. How it gets to that point, I honestly don't care. It's gonna happen. And I have faith in myself that I will walk in that direction always to perform that act, and that act will itself come true. It may not come true based on the time that I think it will be. And so what I do with that is I just don't think about it. Because I know it's gonna happen. And time is relative. And the only thing that I'm actually in control of is my perception now and what I can do right now. And when you focus on that, like, there's only so much you can do. right now? Like think about it. Break it down. Like what can you possibly do right now? And then what can you do right now that is actually beneficial, worth doing? And so, depending on the occasion, I could break this down and I can make it work out literally for anything, honestly. I just have the ability to justify everything. I do. However, in this instance, I understand that I'm just going to put a box around what I am, which makes zero sense. Because there's not a box around me. I'm anything and all things, as are you. Anything is capable. Anything can be done. However, rules are meant to be broken, but they're only meant to be broken because they weren't made by you. And so when you become a rule setter for yourself, the rules that you implement make sense. They're there for reasons. Reasons that you came up with, which makes them easier to justify and keep you in line with whatever it is, goals or future that you want to have, based on the repercussions that you know will happen if you cross those rules, or if you do the opposite. That's why you put the rules up, because you understand that that's maybe not a road that you want to go down. You don't want to tie yourself down with these repercussions. It's not good or bad. You just don't want these type of repercussions, so you set up these rules. And that's how I do it. That's what I've done. That's why I don't run around and run the streets, even though my animal side's like just go get whatever you want. That's what half of me wants. But then the other half of me is like, that makes zero sense. It comes with a lot of repercussions. And I don't want to deal with those repercussions. Doesn't mean that won't happen in the future. I don't know. But I doubt it. It just makes zero sense to me. But it whatever. That's besides the point. I just don't freely give myself to everybody. That makes zero sense to me. It makes zero sense to me, because then to me that lessens my worth. And it doesn't mean in the future it won't be different as my understanding of things go, whatever. And I honestly can separate the fact that the animal part of you is separate, and it's a lower understanding of existence. It deals with the basic needs, the basic survival skills, the basic body functions, really, in this low-level understanding of what it is that you are in. And ultimately, what it does is, it's the animalistic side of you is focused on external, I hate to say pleasure, but external sources to fulfill your needs. And as time goes on, there could be a high possibility that there's a very low amount of external sources that we actually need to survive. We've just become gluttons and all kinds of other stuff based on escapes and that like I said, those low-level dopamine receptor experiences. And so it's almost like, like if you think you need to eat 3 times a day, that's false. It's false. And this is for entertainment purposes only. If you have diabetes or blood sugar's messed up, like your body can reset itself. This is for entertainment purposes only. But you've programmed yourself. Or genetically it was given down to you based on somebody else's programming. But each individual person physically programmed themselves in a very complicated existence. It's a lot of information, and it's a lot of this, that, and it's a lot of variables that created the thing that in which you are. And what's so crazy is what I'm coming to find out. This is just based on the experience of my total life in general. It's like if I was broken and I had all these experiences for 35 years and it programmed me into something, and whatever that was, I would just call that Cody. So for 35 years, all of my life experiences created this personification of Cody. And then I shattered that in a matter of a year and a half, almost 2 years. I corrected all of it in 0.00006% of the time of my existence on this earth in this vessel. And so the correction stage is way faster than all the time that it took to form. And the reason for that is all based on perception control. And then understanding that your perception controls all external factors. All of them. And then your perception also controls all of your internal, all your invisible perceptions, or whatever exists in itself. And I don't know if that statement itself, that final statement may not be true. But it is. It is. It's true. But it's at the 3D level, it's true. However, it's not in its truest form. But as higher you go, 7D, it's definitely true completely. 5D, it's definitely true completely. 4D, it's definitely true completely. But 3D, in the 3D, it's not completely true. Because you're not technically aware of your subconscious. But as you progress, you start to get a grip of your subconscious, and it's based on the perception of what you're feeding it more so. You're starting to perceive the fact that what you feed your subconscious also has the majority of the effect of who and what you become. And so in that act of understanding that notion itself, you start to become more aware of what you're allowing yourself to be in and to give your attention to. And understand the risk of what you give your attention to is going to form and make you who you are going to become. And so, like, you start to understand that if I'm around negative people, I'm going to become more negative. If I'm around people that don't want the best for me, or that are tricking me or manipulating me, or they don't want me to be happy because they're unhappy, which misery loves company, hurt people. You start to understand that what you give your attention to subconsciously does program you, because you're accepting it and you keep immersing yourself back in to the unwanted behavior. Yet the unwanted behavior is comfortable for you because it's in that previous expansion of life that you know so well to be true. And true is not good or bad, it's just comfortable. You're comfortable in the chaos. You're comfortable in being abused. You're comfortable not having love. You're comfortable being tricked. You're comfortable being less than. You're comfortable being talked down to. You expect it. That's what you're worthy of. You don't think you're worth anything else other than the previous life that you lived. It is nothing further from the truth. You're worth everything. You're worth love. You're worth somebody's fucking attention, and all of it. Not all of it, but you're worth all of it. But that's negative in itself. If if you give someone all of your attention, then you are then in return neglecting yourself. And so there's a fine line of understanding balance, of understanding that you have to, number one, find out who you are. And you have to be with people that can help you find out who you are. People that are okay with you being you. However it is, or whomever that is, or whatever that is, that you are. That accept you for you. And as you immerse yourself with those kinds of people, people that want the best for you, that aren't trying to manipulate you, that are not trying to trick you, that are just freely give you things with nothing in return, other than the fact that they would give themselves something, so therefore they would give you something, because you deserve it, because you're fire the way you are. It doesn't mean you're not going to grow and become better, because that's kind of the whole purpose of who you're with. That's who you will become. And so if somebody that you're with is very self-focused on themselves and their healing journey and becoming the best version of themselves, and you spend time with that human being, you will become like that human being. Meaning you will start to find the self-love in yourself. You will start wanting to find out what makes you happy. You will start looking at yourself in a different light, in the light that's being shined off of that other human being. And you're going to start seeing that what that human being is, you're capable of that as well. And you start to understand that you like this energy. You like this feeling. You like yourself. And then all these other people around you, they just want you to stay down because they're fucking miserable. Or they want something from you, or they're getting something from you that you don't know. They're taking your energy. They're using you for something. But in all reality, it's like the ultimate goal is like literally just to exist with people and help each other grow to become the best potential that each individual human can be. And you build off each other. You use each other as fuel, and you guys just hold hands together as you grow. But it's a very difficult road, man. It's a straight shatter of what you think reality is, and it's a pride and ego battle, man. And I it's just walking away from low level thinking of pride and ego and stepping into the pride and ego in which you are, which is perfection, which is exactly what you're meant to be, which is life itself with its free will, which is infinite possibilities, which is love itself. And it's weird, I talk about this. I'm talking about this now, and it doesn't mean that in this balloon cloud above my head that's an idea, it doesn't mean that there's not a separate cloud that's always right there with like me looking for that person. But it's like for the first time, dude, every single day, dude, I love myself so much more. I'm so proud of myself. Like, it's a blanket statement of being proud. And it's very hard to explain for me because I've never felt it before. I watch sometimes the things that I say, and I understand that sometimes I can cut away emotions, and I just speak fast, and I just speak truth. Because it's the only way I can get it out. But then, like, when that moment is over, it's like, this is something you would have never said a year ago. This is nothing you would have said a week ago. This is nothing you would have said 5 minutes ago. I'm fucking proud. And it's so crazy because my brain is going a million miles a minute. With every possibility of what I can say in the best way I can say it. And all my feelings are inside just bouncing off the walls like doom, 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 doom. And I'm holding them back because I'm strong. And if that's not strength, you need to let your emotions go. But I have an issue. And I'm working on it. But I'm trying to understand the balance of letting emotions go and when they're needed. And when the statement itself and the energy from it is enough. Or the best choice. And I like to think that sometimes when we get emotional as human beings, I feel like the glassy eyes is a fucking enough. Because the act of holding the emotions, it's fucking a lot. It's a lot more than an incapacitated human that has to surrender to them. It doesn't mean that each scenario is not needed or one is better or worse than the other. But in my eyes, some things are meant for everyone, and some things are meant for one. So depending on, like I said, I deal with every human being differently. No human being is the same. Every human is unique. And how I treat each individual human being is exactly how I do, and I will not apologize to it. It could be wrong. And I may apologize at the action if it is misinterpreted and I find reason to believe that I need to apologize. But in these scenarios, I'm 90% of the time, 99.9% of the time, I'm not cussing anybody out, being negative or mean or anything like that. But, I'm just, especially if I get emotional like that. Tired, man. My body's been rough tired today, bro. And super tired. What a rough. It's been a long journey, man. Very long journey. Not good. Not bad, but exactly what it had to be. And so, like for me, I feel like the deepest parts of me, which would be that emotional break, which would be that vulnerability. For me, a lot of that, like I said, that's not for the world. That is for one human being to help them grow as I grow. Meaning, if I understand how I think, then I can assume, which makes an ass out of you and me, that those will be my greatest gifts to give to another human being, which is my true authentic self, completely. And so I hold that, and I'll hold that until the time is needed. So I can truly give one person all of me. And there'll be no question ever has somebody seen this from you before. Have you ran around the world spreading all your seed all over the continent? So this is not special. Hugging everyone in existence and diminishing the hug. If you've been running around the world giving everyone all of your So I hold things close to my heart. Because they're for one. Because that's how much they're worth. That one person is worth all of me. And some. And some. I love life, dude. I love life. I love everything about my life. I love everything I've gone through. It doesn't mean I don't cry. It doesn't mean it wasn't positive or negative. It just was. And I appreciate all of it. Because it led me to right now. To the best version of me right now in the moment. I look at my life and it's like, dude, I could if I wanted to. I could say I could be better at this. I could be better at that. I could have more money in my bank account. I could have this. I could have that. But that's just stupid. Like, literally. That's just dumb. That's just putting failure across your forehead. It's like you can't be happy if you can't appreciate where you're at right now. It's not possible. And being that my perception is in control of the external as well as the internal, then all I have to do is choose how I perceive my existence. And I can create it any way I want. And no one else has control over that unless I give it to them. So I perceive myself as being max potential right now. I have all the information that I possibly can have at this moment, right now. And what I'm choosing to do with all that information is this right now. Meaning I'm at max potential. I cannot get any better than this. So like in all reality, the way that I am perceiving this is truth. Which is the truth. Because we can't live in the past. We can't change the past, technically. We can't do anything in the future. We only control the window of opportunity that we have, which is right now. So when you knock off the past, and when you take out the future, and you focus in this little window of time that is the now, life gets simple. It gets so simple. It gets so simple. And it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's right now. That's what you can control. That's what you live in all the time. Just baseline now. And then anything over that is where you're walking to. If you want to go dwell about what happened in high school, like, you physically have to change your perspective to go look at that. And then if you just hold on to that and you live in that and you dwell in that and you no times were better than when I could throw a game-winning touchdown, then you're setting the bar of something that you never ever even possible ever to achieve again, because like you can't even go back to high school. So if you rate that the greatest time of your life, like you're fucking always gonna live life as a failure, or in that mindset of not being good enough, not being popular enough, not having as many friends, at home on a Friday night by yourself because you have no friends, and then you cry about it because you remember back in high school I was at every party on Friday night after the ball game. It's like you're just creating your own hell. Like you're bringing your own judgments on yourself. It was so much better when I had this job. It was so much better when I was with her. When I was with him. And the past and the future are good. They're good. They're good things, but you got to use them within balance. You got to use them and understand exactly what they are. And that they're not meant to be lived in. They're just meant to be learned from. And really, in all reality, it's kind of that. Even the future itself is meant to be learned from, even though you haven't made it there. It's more of like, let's see, learned from. So the past is meant to be learned from, to help keep you from getting in those scenarios when decisions come up or experiences come up that resemble previous experiences in life. And then they just help you deter yourself from that, or make the right decision this time so you don't have to fall back into those repercussions and then face another one in the future again. And so it's like, once it's almost like this. I don't know. I haven't been in this long enough to understand if once you pass a lesson, does the lesson never return? Or is it that you stop the lesson from happening because the experience comes up and you just end it? You're like, this, like last time I had a scenario like this, I chose this option and this is what it created. And so this time I have this scenario, I don't want any part of it. Instead of me saying yes, now I'm going to say no. And then I don't even have to deal with any of that experience itself. And then maybe just over time, like, you just don't even, those experiences don't even come to you anymore because you've learned your lesson. So I think that could be it. Is where it's just like, once you you have to test out of it. So like, you have to get another scenario to make sure that you've learned your lesson, that you believe in yourself, and that you're not a yes man anymore, and you only do things that you want to do and that are for your greater good. And I think that's kind of how it plays out. And maybe I really see what happens is like, a lot of things happen when you start saying no and you start walking away from these situations, and then it just starts exiting out the opportunity even further back. And what I'm saying by this is, like, say you always dealt with a certain group of people, a certain type of people, and then as you learn your lessons, like, maybe the first time you're still hanging out with those kind of people, right? And then you say, no, I don't want to, but you continue to hang out with them, and then as time goes on, you're like, well, I don't even want to hang out with these people anymore, and so you start weaning people away or walking away from people. And then, by the end of it, like, you just don't even hang out with those type of people that would even present a scenario that's even close, or that could at some point have those outcomes. So like, you're just away from those people. And so like, if you had manipulators or abusers in your life, like, as time goes on, you're just not even gonna hang out with those people because you can see them a mile away. You can feel them from a mile away. You know what that is. And you just don't want any part of it because it's nothing but negative for you. And you've already learned your lesson, so you don't have to go learn it again. And so you're not going to put yourself through that kind of punishment. And it's just really cool, like, watching the progress of coming from a people pleaser who had zero self-worth. That it is, I'm not scared of rejection really anymore, but that was afraid of rejection, like, to the fucking core. But that's all wrapped up in worth and not good enough and being too much and going through life. And me and this guy talked about today was an amazing, perfect day. And it was so different than yesterday, and it was different than the day before. Like, I'm starting to understand, like, dude, every day is literally perfect. I talk about it, but now I'm starting to understand. It's like how I treat people. Well, every person needs to be treated different. Every single day is its own day in itself. You could have things that are kind of alike or not, but it's like, it's so special on its own because it's its own lessons, it's its own game plan, it's its own syllabus. Like, it's fire. And everything that you needed to face today, you faced it. You saw it. You felt it. You heard it. You may not understand it all yet. But as time goes on, and you get a further away perspective, you'll be able to become more aware of what really happened today. And it's beautiful to take time and look back at it. And a lot of that is to watch the personal growth of whom you was, and then now who you are. And understanding that you were always this. But now you're actually stepping and living in this as much as you can today. That is possible. So it's very beautiful. It's fucking fire, dude. It's
Do I ever cross your mind when you're feeling lonely? I wish you would call me when you're alone. I find it hard to eat my pride and tell you I'm sorry. I wish you would call me, 'cause I know I won't. Who cares who's right and who's wrong when we're both sleeping alone? When you have doubts to come home, just know
this song is perfect because it gets me. Like I said, man, if the one thing that I've strived for my whole life was even before I thought about myself, think about it like this. So if the goal that I had was ultimately was to have love, right? And for 35 years, the big idea was, even if I wasn't physically chasing it or anything like that, it's just, I think the overall theme of my life was like, I need that external safety and security that I saw that other people actually had, even if it was only for a little while. And maybe I would say this like in a genetic quality. If you look at family stuff and being adopted, you don't ever have that genetic, which is like, to me, the genetic thing is almost wrapped up in like an unconditional love, because like you don't have a fucking choice, because that is you. And therefore, in all reality, you should have to love that unconditionally. That doesn't mean it's true. That's not true in itself. You don't have to do anything. It's free will. However, in my brain, in my logic, as a child, that's what I saw. And I was like, well, I'm already fucked because I don't have that. And then that puts a stain on. I'm telling you, I'm very intelligent, and I was very intelligent when I was little. And that fucking got me in trouble. That got me in trouble because I was trying to understand a world that I wasn't made for. I was trying to understand a world with next level thinking without anyone even understanding the parameters of the world and no one there to teach me. And so the high intelligence got my ass in trouble, and it put me in a box that I created because I created answers to things so quick that didn't make complete sense to me. They still do. The perception is flawed because there was so much more information than I needed, and I only had so much. And so you go through life understanding that, like, that's what I need. I know what I don't have. I see what everything else is. I know I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I need that. I want that. And assuming that being that I didn't have it, would solve all my problems. That external love, that external unconditional love from a mother. Because she had to. If I was her son. You know, I think I just kind of got rid of the father thing. It just didn't exist. Fuck it. I just want one. I don't even need many. I just need one. And I don't even need the other one. Who cares? But and so like I think that like being that was always the goal, right? Was to find that external love. And like I said, the flawed part is like I just had to find it in myself. Like it was always there. It was just me that I needed to love unconditional, and then everything else would fall into place. And you know, like I learned that in a matter of a year and 10 months, 2 years, or whatever it was. Like I found the love that I was searching for my whole life, and I found it within me. And then, like the child that I am, or the innocentness of me in which I am, once you find that love in yourself, all you want to do is share that with everybody else. Because you strived and you searched for this your whole life. And now you got it. Now you obtained it. Now you know how to get it. Now you know how to manage it. Now you know what it is. And you understand that everything you did for 35 years in the grand scheme of things compares nothing to this. And this is the most real thing you've ever felt. The most real thing you've ever done with the most real results. You know, and I told a guy today, I was like, you know, I constantly question whether or not I'm living in a delusion. And that what I'm doing is real. That what I feel is real. And it's like, a delusion is not even fucking real. The concept itself is not real. Because what it is that you perceive is what you are living in. And I talked about this with someone talked about delusion the other day, and you should live in delusion. I'm like, well, I don't even think that delusion is real. Like the concept itself doesn't make sense to me. Because if you are perceiving it, then you are living it. You are in it. It means it is happening. And I would say that, like, even if you're on drugs and you are creating this reality, like in the time in which you are there, if that is what you are perceiving, that has to be real. It is real. And so it's like, yeah, it's real. You may not understand the realness of which it is. You may not understand the mysteries of the universe and why this thing is happening as it is. But it is happening, therefore it is real. And so it's like, everything I'm doing is real. Everything that I'm saying is real. Everything that I'm creating is real. Everything that I'm speaking itself is real, and it is becoming real. Because I'm living in it. I see my goal. I say what I say, and then I walk towards what I say. Until I can grab it. And when I grab it, it just proves to me the whole time that it was already real in the first place. I was just waiting on the perfect time. And so it's like, you know, whatever. But yeah, I mean, so like I said, and now it's like, especially being that, it's like I know that there's another soul like me. I know there's someone who's lived their life, and it's as hard or as easy as possible for them. And I like to always just say that everyone's life is as hard as it possibly can be for them, because I think that's the scale. I don't think there's an easy scale. I think it's just max potential, and in order to get max potential, it has to be hard, because nothing is freely given. Meaning, the rules of the world is, for anything with life to exist, there's basic rules that are applied, that they're just connected to. Meaning, like, you gotta feed yourself, you gotta have enough water, you gotta take care of yourself, otherwise you're gonna die. Which you're gonna die, I don't know if everyone dies or will in the future, but these vessels will do whatever they do. And until you can heal them, they have restrictions on them and rules and regulations. And so everything you do, like, you have to the act of moving forward and having faith in the world and the surrounding that you live in, and having faith really is just blind faith in the fact of the rules that exist, where you have to physically eat food. You have to put it in your mouth, eat it, and then have faith that your body will process it the way it needs to be, and that food is real, and that it's what you needed. It's not poison or whatever. But there's all these rules and regulations, and they're very simple because they're subconsciously programmed, and it's like innate abilities. Like, you come out the womb, like, it may take you a second, but then you can innately, attach to a teat, and because that's where you get food from. It's just innate. Like, everything is just built in, and these natural abilities is crazy. It's beautiful. And so it's like you're not. Like, everything you need is there. It's already programmed in. And it's crazy to think about it like that, but it is. It's the same thing with everything. Like, everybody, everything. Just natural. So life itself is beautiful, and so, like, yeah, whatever, And so I understand, a year and a half. It doesn't mean that the idea of me being with another human being, and learning about them the way I've learned about myself, like, that infatuates me. The infatuation of someone knowing me the way that I know myself now, and fucking being okay with that. Being okay with the darkness that I am, as well as the light. Being okay with the fact that I've done these things in my life or not done these things in my life, or I've came from this and this, or that I struggled for my whole life to even fucking know what I was, who I was, what I was, like, what I'm supposed to be doing. Not understanding, like, that the physical vessel itself is not me. That's not me. It's how I express in this body. What's inside of me comes out is who I am. Not what I look like. Not the roll of the dice. But how I express who I am. How I walk. How I talk. How I think. How I love. How I give. How I cry. How I care. How I carry myself. How I express myself. How I don't express myself. Like, that's who you are. What I love, what do I enjoy, what I give my attention to. That's who you are. What inspires me. What gets me out of bed. What gets me off. What gets me excited. That's who you are. It has nothing to do with your physical traits, like, literally. It's just just a model number. It's just what you were given. It's the issue you was given. And then how do you perform in that? How do you best perform in the model, in the uniqueness, in the one-of-a-kind car, vessel, suit that you were given? That's who you are. And so for me, it doesn't mean we're not. I mean, we're definitely attracted to physical qualities and all that stuff. Yes. But at the end of the day, like, it's just not as important as you think. It really isn't. I mean, it's kind of important, but not really. It is, but it isn't. I don't know, man. So it's like, that's it. For me, it's like, yeah, I'm still looking for that. I'm hoping and wishing and understanding, like, in my scenario, what is going to happen. And just waiting. Because I understand the journey that I went on, and man, is that fucking long. Man, was it difficult. Man, is it lonely. And as much as I want to help, I can't even help you until you reach out to me. Like I said, you reach out to me, I will hold your hand, I will sit back to back with you, I will hold you. I will be there for you. I will show you and tell you what I've done, how I overcame this stuff. But I cannot do it for you because it's your perception. It's how you perceive things. You're your own creator. You're your own chooser. You choose for yourself. God himself does not do that. And this is the misconception of religion itself. And I talk about this a lot of times. God is God. God does a lot of things. And you get pissed off at God when you ask God to do things for you and he doesn't do it. He's not going to do it for you. This is your life. That's part of the agreement. He will help you. He cannot, he will not do it. He can do anything he wants, but he will not do a lot of things for you because the act itself is faith. Faith without works. You gotta work. You gotta feed yourself. If you go out and you lived in the desert, and you were like, God, feed me, and there was a huge river, and he put all this food on the other side, like, you would be pissed off. Be like, dude, God asked you to feed me. He's like, I am feeding you, but you still gotta fucking go over there and get it. Like, do you have faith in yourself that you can cross this river, that you can build something to get across it safely? I'm not gonna just give it to you. I'm gonna open it up, put it in your mouth too. That defeats the purpose of me creating you. That defeats the purpose of me giving you life. You're meant to experience it without training wheels. You're supposed to learn how to ride a fucking bike. You're supposed to learn how to fly. If I keep you tethered to the ground and I do everything for you, then what's the point? What's the point? And so you have to do these things, and it doesn't mean that things won't be whatever. And I'm not diminishing God. And the whole point is, a lot of times I say stuff like this, it's like, when you build your faith, in an external source and you neglect you, like it's always going to leave failure. Because that was not what's intended. God created you to provide for yourself. He gave you everything you needed. He gave you a great mind, a great ability to do what you need to do. So do it.
And every time I try to sleep, you know your pillow reminds me of when I was happy.
Do it.
It's been so long. I was young, didn't know what I'm looking for. Fell in love, fell apart.
And I think about my life now, and it's like, dude, I would not be where I'm at if it wasn't for me. I'm not taking it away from God, because I'm not. What I'm saying is I had to do this stuff. I had to walk away from these people. I had to choose to want to be happy. Because I have free will. Love is free will. You can choose to stay with the people you're with. You can choose to be negative. You can choose to not hope for the best. You can choose to see your cup is half empty instead of half full. You choose this. God doesn't choose this for you. Right? So nothing is going to change until you change. And like I said, it's the complacency, it's the convenience. And you start to understand that, like me, a person like me who runs around and is helping everyone, is ultimately I'm not helping anyone. I'm fucking restricting them. I'm feeding them. And I'm getting tired of doing it. And it's only hurting me because I'm neglecting myself in return. And it's like the only way people are going to change is if real change happens. And they're not going to do it. So I got to do the change. Meaning I have to walk away. That's the change. That's enough for me to stop doing all these things for people. I can't think of the word right now, but enabling them. And in the act of walking away from people, sometimes it really does suck. But the distance that is created, it causes two things. Number one, it causes a split of perceptions. Where it's like, wait a minute, you have your perception, and for the first time, you got to go, if this person did walk away from me, it means that they actually have a different perspective of this scenario. And then when that comes up, you can say, they're wrong, poor me. Harden your heart and have pride and ego, and you just build on that, and you just become a Medusa, and you literally just turn yourself to stone and have to sit in that old shit that you created. Or you can go, well, maybe I'm not completely right. They did walk away from me. Maybe in this scenario, they had some type of reason and justified a reason to walk away from me. Let's just start a dialogue and at least be willing to listen to the idea that it could be possible that maybe they had good reason to, based on their perception. It doesn't mean I'm wrong, but at least let me just evaluate. Let me be mature about this. Let me not be pissed off child. It's not willing to do anything but just sit in their emotions of whatever. And I think that's why, like, the understanding of a child and an adult, and I think that's why we age, is because of that. There's I like to think of it as I like to think of it as this. I like to think that when the child comes out the womb and he grows, for a time, we talked about this tonight, kids are just perfect. And they do get angry, they get mad. But in all reality, like, they already know. They know everything. The issue is they cannot communicate it. And so they're having to learn this system that is only external. Because all their feelings and all that shit is real. And that came with them from the womb. Just in the person itself. And so as they grow up, they're picking up and learning a whole new world system. And how the world works. And it's only external. It doesn't mean it doesn't affect their internal, in the way that they respond and their feelings and stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying all the validation, all the information is from the outside and how it's affecting them. And so as time goes on, as they learn how to communicate, like the pure, innocent, sweet, trueness of a being is destroyed, or it's watered down. And it's based on whatever information that they're being taught on how to communicate, how to live, how to function in this world. And being that we've just gone through thousands of years of just shit, and really so much more in the last technology age, all I can kind of technically speak on, without going into some higher level understanding of existence. You know, and really you would say like the last 200-300 years or whatever, you know, maybe even the 40s, even World War I. You know, the major changes in the money system and how the things work wrapped around that, coming out of survival mode, or coming out of hunting and gathering type of society into the innovation and industrial revolution, like where we've moved into convenience. But what people don't understand is, with convenience, you're actually sacrificing freedom. Because in order for things to be convenient, you have to give up something. And what you're giving up is ultimately your freedom. The freedom to choose, which sounds very counterintuitive, but it's not. Because there's freedom in providing for yourself. There's freedom in choosing for yourself. There's freedom in creating for yourself. There's freedom in dictating every aspect of your life. And so what you're doing is you're giving up your freedom for that convenience of not having to think, not having to take care of, not having to sweat, not having to work, not having to hunt and gather your life and your basic needs. And instead, it's wrapped with this third party of a money system that, you know, started bringing in new ideas of status quo and all this other stuff. And like I said, money's not good, money's not bad. It is a tool. However, it's just taking too much attention. So instead of you going to yourself for your needs, you're always looking for an external source for the needs. And that's the same with God. It's the same with money. It's the same with external validation of love. I said, and the only thing that we technically need another human being for, technically, is for procreation. Technically. But it does, I mean, obviously I want one for more than just procreating, but on a basic, like, scale, that's, you know, that's what it's for. And then even then, in the instance of this, for me, if, kind of like I talked about, like, if the story of Adam and Eve was what it was, and I see it the way that I perceive it, and I was Adam, and in all reality, if I was Adam, and I was the first, I was the reason the world is exactly the way it is, in the totality of things, if I was the start of things, and being that if Eve came from me, then Eve and I are one. We've always been one, but we've been separated since the beginning. And so when I look at myself, if I was to say that I was Adam, and that ultimately I've just been striving for myself, and that love in myself that used to be just me, then it was split into something external. And so ultimately I've just been looking for my other half of me. And being that I've found all of this part of me, I'm still looking to just complete the me that I am. Is to reignite what I always was. And so in the instance of since the beginning of my existence in this lifetime now, it's like that's what I've been striving for. I've been striving for me the whole time. And I kind of I'm starting to look at my symbol as that. As there's an X in the middle, which is me. As well as I, E, V, A. Meaning we're just one and the same. I'm both. I'm both the X, and I'm both the Eve. In all reality itself. And this is not depicted in true, maybe even so for the rest of humanity. But for me and her, we are one. We are the same. We came from the same energy. My energy was split. And so, in all reality, like, that may not happen for anyone else other than the first two beings in this garden itself. And, which, I said, that represents a lot of things, and it represents, you know, whether the story itself is true, and it's not just an allegory, who knows? Who knows? Or it could be both. And so, it's like, I know that I've found the love in myself. And so now, even if that person itself wasn't the exact me, and this is not what it is, it's still the same story. Meaning that there's an Adam who finally found himself, but he understands that there's still more to his energy. There's still more to his flame. Then when he meets that person, they come together, then they're complete. It doesn't mean that the energy is exactly the same or the same as the first one, but it just means that if you was to have a cup or a milk jug, Adam's flame only fills up half, and then whatever the other flame is, it just blends in, and then they become one. They just accept each other as they are. They just combine their flame, they combine their energy, they combine their existence, and they just become one, which is completion, which is complete. Because the flames itself take up so much space in that bottle. They got to fill it completely. And once the other one is integrated with, then they are complete. And you can put a lid on that and it's good. They're never separated again. And that completion is perfect. It doesn't matter if there were two different flames, because they become one. So from that point forward, you completed. You got your other half and you filled up that bottle, which was the ultimate goal from day one. And so, like, for me, that's where I'm at. And that's why, like the other day, I said in energy. Because I understand that whoever is with me, will just complete me. And I'll complete them. And as long as we both accept completely who the other person is, and we just combine, and then we close the top, it is what it is. And we can just burn things together like we're one. And so I go through life and I understand that I don't know the other person's story, but I trust my feelings. I trust myself. And therefore, I understand more the understanding of what a masculine is. And he's meant to be unfucking movable. He's meant to be the anchor. He's meant to be the ground rod. He's meant to be anchored to the earth. Stout. Strong. Never waver. Complete trust in himself. Complete trust in his ability to lead, to inspire, just to fucking be. And as much as I understand that I am in both, feminine and masculine, I understand that I'm in a masculine body now. And that I've done work to regain what a real masculine is. Because it was always innate in me. And then I also found out by living within my feminine nature nurture traits how to be in that. And I understand that now I can be both. But the vessel itself kind of leads me towards the masculine side, obviously. And I kind of look at it as, if I was intended to be a female, I would be a female. It doesn't mean I won't feel like a female in this body. I could, who knows? But I don't. But I had a conversation tonight with a guy, and I told him, I was like, which this is the second person that agreed with me. And the power of threes. And he talked about the power of threes today. I was like, dude, that's how I do things, man. And it blew my mind because he says, when I get 3 confirmations, I do it. And I was like, fuck, dude, that's what I've been living. And it just came out of nowhere. And I told him, I was like, do this journey. I was like, I joked about it a couple years ago about changing my name. And it's like, I was like, I'm still trying to figure out what my name is. I do know I am me. I am me. I-A-M-E. I also know I have many names. I also know my symbol is I-E-V-A. Just depends on how you read it. I-V-E-A. Just depends on how you read it. Depends on how I position it. Like I said, I do know that I have many names. And the name that my vessel has here has been Cody Cox. I don't agree with it. It was what it was when it was, but it's not me. Because the names that I choose, the names that I just spoke of, are bigger than one reality that I lived. This is the name of my consciousness. This is the name of who I am. Not the vessel. Not the product number. And so, I told him, I was like, dude, I don't know. I was like, I wrote in my book a year ago. I said, what was my name? And I said, I can't tell people about this shit because they think I'm fucking crazy. But it said divine. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Looked it up, looked up all kinds of stuff. And just kind of left it as that. And then when my art started coming up, I honestly don't remember. I wrote the symbol down, and it was the X, or the cross, I guess, or the plus sign. I don't want to say cross. The plus sign, and then I-E. I-E-V-A. And then I've switched it because I read it differently now. I read it I-V-E-A if it's in the plus sign. And then last week I switched it to an X because X to me is big. I played the game. I found the game. Someone inspired me the game. Appreciate it. X marks the spot. Treasure hunt. XRP. XR people. Under Armour. All this stuff. X. X is the symbol of man. X is the symbol of the market beast, evidently. X is the most powerful letter in the alphabet, the English alphabet. X is me. X is I love. I'm pretty sure. And so I don't know. I know I am the X, as well as I could be EVA as well, or maybe it's just I love EVA, which it would be Eve, but I don't think so. I think it's a totality because Eve is me and I am Eve. We are one and the same like that. But I don't know. This is, like I said, I'm just trying to learn who I am, and it's every day. I already know a lot of things, and if my name is EVA, which it is, in all reality, but that's just a combination of two, but 2 into 1, but this makes a separate thing, which equals 3. But I don't know, man. Life is fun, dude. This journey is cool. I did not paint today. And I don't know. This talk is different, man. This song is exactly what it is. Always thinking about you. I'm thinking about me. So I'm just trying to be patient and just continue to give myself time. Because I understand this road. In all reality, like, and I kind of told him today, dude, I was like, I've been thinking lately that it's like the world's not going to change. The whole world's not. There's always going to be sheep because they want convenience. And they're not going to want to take free will. Because free will is difficult. Free will, it's only difficult because you're a little bitch. And it's like, that's the point. If you're stuck in this low-level thinking, you're a little bitch. Because you think of things on rated scales. And like, a scale is nothing but failure. If you rate things, you will fail. Because you're rating things on the scale you create, and then you're rating everything external. And so when you do that, what you're doing is, ultimately, even if you say you're better than somebody else, like, you fucking don't believe it. Because if you create a scale within yourself, and then you compare the rest of the world to you, like, you already lost. Because the act itself of you creating the scale means you only create a scale if you think you're less than. And so you only compare people if you think you are capable of being less than. And so in my logic, in my brain, and in my feelings, I go, I do know this much. I know I'm not less than anyone. So there's no point for me to even create a scale. And I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, because I'm not. Like, we are the same. We were created with the same material. Exactly the same. And then we all have the same potential. And so it's like we're all the same. We all come through a womb. We all, or at least in a mother. We all come from an egg and a sperm. Like, we are all the same. Like, there's no reason to compare. And so, like, the act of comparing itself is straight fucking failure. Not good enough. And so the concept itself just needs to be thrown out. As long, also with, and see, it sucks because it's like, you know what? I don't know how the future's gonna hold. Because there's some concepts like this where it's like, if people don't do the work, it's more on production, really. I think it's a production, and that's not even a scale. It's just like, if you produce, you get this. If you don't produce, you get this. And I don't know, man. Yeah, just quit comparing, man. It's fucking failure. Like, it's nothing but failure. It's just a dumb idea that was created by a system of people in charge that keeps control over you. And it's all just a big it's very, it's impressive. It's definitely impressive, to say the least. The things that they have implemented just to keep you a slave and to keep you trapped within yourself by not looking at yourself. Always focusing on the external everything for protection. Because ultimately, the most innate skill that you have is just fucking to survive. And so really, if you fear being made fun of, like, that, to you, that's just as bad as being death, or rejection is death to you, or any of these other things, external things that you're afraid of. Like, fear itself just leads to death, just leads to incapacitation, just leads to slavery, and it ultimately, again, just leads to convenience, and which ultimately just gives up your freedom, because you can't be free and afraid at the same time. And so it's like, if things make you afraid, then you're not free, and they hold power over you. So it's understanding and stepping back into your freedom, and just understanding that there's nothing to be afraid of, because you're more than capable of overcoming anything that faces your way. If you have faith in yourself, if you trust yourself, if you love yourself, and you learn what you are capable of. Because I could see where it's like, well, I'm not these things. You could say I'm not these things. I'm like, but you are those things. You just don't believe in yourself. You haven't read your own book. You haven't read your instruction manual. You haven't even scanned through the glossary to even understand that you have all these gifts, that you're capable in all these things. And so you think that you're not, which in reality you are, but being that you won't even look in that direction, you won't even open that door to unlock a library of information of what you are, like, then obviously you're going to be afraid of anything and all things and not think you're capable or worthy, because all the external sources told you that from the day you were born. And then they don't live it either, so they're afraid, and that's why they look down at you and they question you and they doubt you, because they can't do the things for themselves. And they're definitely not going to want to see you do it. And they shoot hate your way. They make fun of you. They think you're crazy. And it's just because they don't believe in themselves. So then you get a human like me who believes in myself, and then I walk around the world going, look, I see this in you. I see this in you. I see what you're capable of. And you look at me like I'm fucking crazy. And I'm like, I've read my own book, and we are the same. So if I know I'm capable of it, it just takes time and attention, then you're capable of it. And if I can help push you in that direction, so you can feel the way I feel, like, I'm gonna fucking do that every time, because it's fun. That's your true potential. That's just your potential. That's just you. It's not even potential. It is you. You just have to open the door. You just have to pull that out of the garage. You just have to turn it on. You just have to walk in it. You just have to be what you already are. But you may have to walk into that back room and at least see what you got back there. Like I said, dude, I love life, man. I love myself, and like I said, as much as like I'm in my romantic crap all the time, I really am. In all reality, I really am. But it's like, I just sit here and it's like, man, when it comes, it's gonna be fucking sweet. Like, it's gonna be worth it. And like I said, if I can heal myself enough to where I can help, especially that equal of me, the thing that treasure I've been hunting my whole life, that trophy, that goal, that reason to be outside of myself, like, as much as I hate being patient, it's like, you can't rush what's meant for you. What is you? And every time I try to sleep, you know your pillow reminds me of when I was happy. It's been so long. So I don't know, man. But today was cool, man, and dude, I've been talking for an hour and 30 minutes. I'm gonna kill this pretty soon. But today was cool, man. I went to the park, listened to my talk all day. Well, at least 3 times. I got food this morning. I got a shot, and I got pataya. And then I talk. I listened to my talk and walked the park. And just listen to my talk, man. Spent time outside, dude. It was a beautiful day today. Just perfect. And like I said, my body is jacked up right now. Super tired. It's exactly what it needs to be, evidently. So I just roll with it. The pain is usual. It's just existence itself, and one day it will go away, man. I don't know. For me, it's just regular, and whatever. So I left there and I went somewhere else, and I got a sandwich today. It was freaking fire, and I got a carrot juice. I'm drinking the rest of it right now. It's been a while, but. And then I did something else, and I honestly cannot remember. I don't know, but then I had to go eat dinner with the guy, and it was just cool, man. It was just cool. It's perfect. Like I said, it's understanding the interactions with human beings and what they are, and just accepting them for what they are, and not assuming anything, but just being focused in the now and appreciative of the interactions with humans, and to dig a little deeper in it, to accept it a little bit more, that everything is a lesson and everything is about each other and what you can do for the other person as well as what they can do for you, and that every interaction should be equal give and take, or close to it, and that itself is kind of a perception change as well. And you start to understand that, like, if I walked through the world and I said I needed physical things from people every time I interacted with them, like, then that would just put me in failure, right? But the way I perceive it is that every moment that I have with a human being is an exchange of each other's person itself. Meaning, they're giving me all of them up until that point, which is all of them, so all their experience, all their knowledge, everything. And as I'm doing that as well, and I'm giving them all my attention in the moment. And so, I'm setting the precedent on how I perceive this interaction. Whether or not that's true has nothing to do with anything, because it's the way I perceive it and what I call to be true, and the way I perceive things to be true for me are true. Because I am the king of my perception. I am the ruler of my perception. And in all reality, I am the God of my perception. The highest of high. No one is higher than the way I perceive things. It doesn't mean that God's not over me. He is. But He gives you free will to choose how you perceive. If He did not choose that, that would not be free will. Hence would not be love. And God is love. So whatever, man. Today was beautiful.
Do I ever cross your mind when you're feeling lonely? I wish you would call me.
Who knows? I just live life, man.
I find it hard to eat my pride and tell you I'm sorry.
And it's fucking beautiful.
I wish you would call me.
And before I know it,
Who cares who's right and
I'll be with whomever. And we'll change the world.
Sometimes I wake up, smell your perfume and makeup.
And it'll be fire. Literally. My flame and her flame. Fire. And so I'm excited, man. You know what's really cool is I understand that one of my traits is to point people in a direction and to show them their potential. They can choose to or not. Because it's not technically easy. However, it is possible. And so, like, for me, the thing that really makes me happy is understanding that partner that's going to be with me is I'm going to be fucking trying to just be myself and not force anything, but just me being myself is showing her what she's capable of. And then, obviously she'll just walk towards it. She is it. And then, kind of in the same instance, she'll be doing the same for me. Because she'll be bringing in, like, she'll be inspiring me, which she already does, but, to just be better. For her, as well as for me. Because I only want to give her the best. Therefore, I always have to be coming better every single day. Because she deserves everything. Therefore, I have to be able to provide everything. And I can't slack on that because now it's not just me anymore. Like now it's like I have to facilitate everything for her as well as myself. Because ultimately it just benefits every party because really we're just one party. And what benefits her the most also benefits me the most. And so for me, it's very cool to think about, I lived my life one way by myself, and now I get to partake in a new adventure with a real external source. That I get to spend my whole fucking life keeping her impressed, keeping her amazed, keeping her fed, keeping her protected, keeping her safe. Because she provides all those same things for me. Equal give and take. So like that's it. And that's the reason. Because I can only get so far on my own. Because I do need the other half to push me. And it's not even a push. It's just I need that extra thought. That one thought from that one other person. The thought that wasn't of my own. That inspiration that wasn't of my own. To catapult me into the greatness that I can become. So I think that's the whole design of this reality itself, is understanding that without that mate, without that external, without that pure, that true, that good external validation, your potential is only so high. But when you come together with that new external validation, and it is good, and it is right, and it's healed, and it's in line with you, infinity and beyond, is where you can go. Where before, when you're by yourself, infinity is what you are alone. But you need that other person. You need that extra engine to go beyond. yourself,
I wish you would call me,
which is beyond
'cause I know I won't.
infinity. Holla. Love y'all. Peace.
Who's wrong when we're both sleeping alone? When you have doubts to come home, just know I'm here thinking about you. Late night, sometimes I wake up, smell your perfume and makeup. Now I know why they hate love. I just can't stop thinking about you. I'm here, I'm thinking about you. I hope you think about me too. I'm here thinking about you. I'm feeling incomplete when you're not beside me. I need you around me. Won't you come home? And every time I try to sleep, you know your pillow reminds me of when I was happy. It's been so long. I was young, didn't know what I'm looking for. Fell in love, fell apart, how original. What if everything we said was forgivable? I wish you and I just saw this through. Could say it all in 3 syllables. It was love, never lost, never typical. That's because only love's unconditional. Wonder if you love me like I love you. I'm here, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're thinking about me too. I'm here thinking about you. I hope you think about me too. I'm here thinking about you. I hope you think about me too. I'm here thinking about you. Who cares who's right and who's wrong when we're both sleeping alone? When you have doubts to come home, just know I'm here thinking about you. Late night, sometimes I wake up, smell your perfume and